simmers down now. And the bottom line is that Leicester City have won the game. They've won it by 3-1. They won it in the first half, where they could easily have scored another couple. Jordan Ayew saw a goal ruled out for offside after planting his header in, but it was the opening 31 minutes which did the damage. D Cordova-Reid finishing off a flowing move. Oliver Skip thrashing into the corner after 15 on the volley from a deflected corner before Jordan James made it 3-0, a death finish after a Luke Thomas assist. It was 3-0 at half-time. Derby County came on stronger in the second half. They managed to find a way back into the game. A goal scored by centre-back Sondre Langos, but in the end, Marty Cifuentes sees his side put on a good performance and walk out of Pride Park in the East Midlands derby with all 3 points. Final score here at Pride Park. It finishes Derby County 1, Leicester City 3.
Result for the Foxes. Jerry Taggart will stick with you at full time as we can see the pictures now of Marty Cifuentes hugging Jakub Stolarczyk, and I'm sure that group will be going over to the away end, which will be fairly jubilant, I imagine, today.
Yeah, the fans have been superb today from start to finish. And a gutsy performance from the players in the end. You know, came under a lot of pressure in that second half, which you would expect. You know, Derby changed things slightly at half-time, went to a back four, 3 more men forward, made a couple of substitutions, and they had to dig in. And I think that's probably the most pleasing bit for the fans. Yes, they conceded from a set piece, but after that, I mean, it was a real gutsy performance from them.
Yeah, and you see in this reaction now, I think it always helps, doesn't it, being a local derby, the East Midlands derby, but those supporters buzzing, the players look really, really happy as well with their 90 minutes performance, and they're rightly sharing it with the crowd now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they've played their part today, the fans, and the players have rewarded the fans for their support with that gutsy performance. The whole squad have gone over to appreciate that, and rightly so, because you know, without the fans today, it could have been, you know, slightly worse for Leicester in that second half. But they kept what the team did after conceding the goal was, after about 10 minutes of the Derby fans being on the up, Leicester was just able to quell that momentum, and then obviously the Leicester fans got their voices going, and obviously helped the players see the game out.
Yeah, great to see that reception as well for Marty Cifuentes. He himself will be buzzing, Jerry, won't he? We know what had happened the week leading into this game, so to go there and to be 2-0 up inside 15 minutes was massive, really, wasn't it? Well,
I think, you know, listen, you know, the life of a football manager at times can be, you know, well, it's always stressful, but at the end of the day, you know, after, you know, the away performance at Southampton and the result, the first half performance against Sheffield United last week, you know, you're going to be called into question. And he's come out in the press midweek and understood why people aren't happy. And the only way you can go out and put that right is by going back out onto the pitch and making sure that the players put in the performance, and that's exactly what they did today.
Yeah, that is the voice of Jerry Taggart, who will stay with us live at Pride Park as we get post-match reaction to Leicester's victory today. Martin Waghorn, a man who's played over 100 times for both Leicester and Derby, joins us in the studio, as does Matt Elliott, who played well more than 100 times for Leicester City. Somewhat nervy slightly towards the end. I think that's purely just because of what's happened in the last week, but Leicester there got over the line. Even more than that, they were fantastic, particularly in the first half, and what a 3 points that is.
Yeah, I think, you know, overall thoroughly deserved the win, didn't they? And second half started well enough. It was interesting to see how Leicester were going to go about their business, and yeah, Derby came back into it, looked a little bit better. They couldn't look much worse, to be honest, than the first half. And there were a couple of hairy, scary moments, you know. But all said and done, when it came to the final stages, you know, it was quite early on, really. You felt it was game over. Derby had a bit of a surge, didn't they? A bit of a period where possibly things could happen. But Leicester saw it through comfortably enough, I thought, overall. And I'll tell you one thing, that it was today was a determined performance. They were determined not to have a repeat of last week, determined to get a result, hopefully putting a performance alongside that as well, but determined not to let Derby back into that game, because the amount of blocks and challenges and interventions that they were throughout the game really typified Leicester's performance today. Yeah, and that was a marked difference from what we've seen before.
1,000,000%. Obviously, you have the performance that you do in the first half, for argument's sake, the free-flowing football, the opportunities that they had, then to show the other side of it when it was a little bit tough first 15, 20 minutes to really dig in. And the boys coming on, I think everyone came on, had a helping hand. Hamza blocks towards the end. And it just looked like a real proper performance, like everyone was there for each other doing the job. And like I say, it's not rocket science in terms of what you want your players to do when they go out there, the bare minimum. And I just think everyone executed it perfectly today, and they looked like a real solid, proper team, and it was a proper professional performance.
Yeah, and you know what, at the end, that battle, that fight, we figured out there were 7 academy graduates of the 11 at the end of the game, Matt. And that probably sums it up, that these are players that either are from Leicester or have come up through the academy, but 7 of the 11, they're going to fight. They're going to show everything that you need sort of mentally.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they did.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't label those players being any more determined or combative than any of the other players that were out there today. You know, I can remember blocks from Vestergaard there, and Oliver Skipp was determined, got involved, got about the opposition. So did Ayew, so did Mavididi and Fatawu to a degree. You know, it's not what their game's about, but they gave their best in that respect. But it is a good recognition, if you like, or representation, you know, of the work that is going on at the academy. Yeah, they're different ages, aren't they? Some of those players you mentioned. So it's not like one group just come together. It's over a period of time, and that bodes well down the line. And a lot of people have been wanting to see an element of the youth players coming through, get their opportunity and develop. And to a degree, you've seen that a little bit today, and at other times throughout the season, maybe more down the line.
No, very pleasing, obviously, to have that amount of younger bodies, so to speak, finishing the game. But to finish the game the way they did, one speaks to the club for what they're doing behind the scenes, but also the experienced boys that you say, like Skippy, Vestergaard, Jordan, all these boys that, you're an academy graduate to some sort of degree, but you're here to do a job, and everyone buys into what they're doing. And they just looked like a lot more solid. Obviously, the last few weeks have been great in terms of the way they've started games, or we've seen spells throughout the season of what they've been capable of doing. But to see it on a larger scale today, right throughout from start to finish, they never really looked in any real trouble at any stage. And to have the amount of younger boys, so to speak, on the pitch at the end there is a real testament to the club, and hopefully, like you say, bodes well for the future and gives everyone else a bit of hope and opportunity to come through and progress through the club.
Yeah, regardless of that, Jerry, as Matt rightly says, it was all 11, wasn't it, that battled there. Even the players that came off the pitch, they absolutely ran their socks off, didn't they? The likes of Jordan Ayew, Steffi Mavididi, Abdul, absolutely everyone really on that pitch today is, to a man, has given their all.
Yeah, and that's what it takes to win any game of football, never mind, a derby match away from home. I mean, that is what you would call your prerequisite as a professional footballer, is, everyone walking off that pitch with nothing left in the tank. The disappointing thing is we haven't always seen that this season. And when you see a performance like today, backed up by the result, then again, sometimes you're scratching your head saying, why don't we see that more often? And we keep saying that's a template, that's a level, that's a standard, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to call it. And that is the minimum. And I know different players at different times have off days, Dan. I get that, they're not 100%. But if you're fit and you're healthy, and then you need to be given 100% on the pitch. If you're, your head's not right, or, you've got your boots on the wrong feet for whatever reason on whatever day, then that's fine. That's fine. Not everybody plays to their maximum, but the work ethic that they showed today is so vital moving forward. And again, we've got a game midweek, and they need to show that sort of conviction and that desire again.
So on a different note or a different subject, I think a special mention, or a mention certainly, Ben Nelson. I thought the way he slotted back in there, so composed and comfortable, effortless for him, seamless, all those different words. After being, he's had a stop-start season, comes in, gets his opportunity, does well, injured, out for a few weeks, and bang, straight back in the fray in a high-pressure game.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on him today?
Superb. I just hope he stays healthy, he stays fit, and he gets a run of games. He really showed his maturity today.
Yeah.
We've seen bits and bobs of him over the last 18 months, 2 years, where he's come in, and even under Enzo, he was brought in for a game here or a game there. But since he's been back in the squad and then subsequently got injured again, I think it was at Norwich he got injured away.
Yes, yeah.
I think, yeah. Then the team have lacked a little bit of presence, but he really showed that today, his presence, his authority. And he will only get better. Going through what he's going through today in a high pressure game and coming out the other end and going, it ain't too bad, this championship football. I know he's played there before, so I know he's been out on loan elsewhere, but I mean, he can really cement his place in this team.
Yeah, I don't know how it seems, but for me, watching it from here in the studio, it didn't seem like someone who needed cajoling and nurturing along. It looked like, to me, his introduction actually lifted those people around.
Yeah, I was going to say on that, like, obviously you're playing against three vastly experienced strikers. Obviously Patrick's from the USA, but you've obviously got Ben, you've got Corey Blackett-Taylor coming on. He never looked in any real threat in any way, shape or form, do you know what I mean? And for his age to come in, like you say, the big game, the environment, it just showed, like, from front to back, they were spot on and everything was done properly. And to keep those front boys quiet isn't easy. They've always been probably derbies, get out of jail free card, go forward, play around them, and they handled it with pretty much ease today. And they didn't give him a look in, so just shows testament to how well he was and stepped in. He's physically fit, he's athletic, he's good in the ball, big lad, big presence. So he just time's the one for him, isn't it? So great.
It seems like both you, Matt, and Jerry have said the same thing. He almost shows a maturity beyond his years and beyond the amount of football he's actually played. Yeah,
a number of reasons that I think he's done particularly well as well, because from his own personal point of view, he's been given opportunities, but only bits and pieces, as you mentioned there. It hasn't been. No one said to him, right, go on, that position is yours to grow into. There you go, son. He's had to do well immediately, and could put a bit of pressure on. You can have a sticky game every now and then in a one-off, but you could see, and surely managers would have seen it. They see more often than I do through training. You'll see his qualities that he's got, and then he got the opportunity. Not by default, but by other people's lack of form, shall we say, against Middlesbrough, did exceptionally well, played similarly to how he did today. Next game, he was playing well, confident against Norwich, and then an injury out of nowhere, but then he has, 3 weeks off, is it? And then straight back in, and he looks like, a player who's been in form for half a season. It's just so effortless for him. Yeah. And that's a mark of a very decent young player.
Yeah, and again, every time it feels like you see him, he just looks assured, doesn't he?
Yeah. People have their natural way of playing. That's just how it comes across anyway. I'm sure maybe inside he's not a bag of nerves, but he'd be probably switched on and alert. But he has that. Man, it looks easy for him. Like he covers the ground well. He's quick. He's only going to get better and better, as Jerry said there. But it looks to me like he's getting better pretty quickly now.
It's a hard skill to make the game look easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think today, like, his reading of the game, his position,
was quite frantic.
It was frantic at times. And defended the box really well. Didn't give Slav any chances up top. So it's really difficult to make the game look easy. And for his age, and not as many games as you'd have liked, but to come off from injury, stop-start, to get that flow, he looked, like he couldn't put it for
I bet also, sorry, but he's relatively young, Ben, but time's ticking, far from rushing his career. But I mean, he's been around the first team scene, or reckoning, or playing in the Championship for Oxford last year. He probably thinks, hey, do you know what? My time's overdue. Yeah. I'm not a youngster, trying to sort of
pave me way into the game.
My stripes, shall we say?
Totally.
Listen, it was about time I got myself involved in the forefront, and he's doing that.
Yeah, Jerry, let's take a look at some other individuals then, or maybe more of a partnership. Those two in the middle of midfield, Skip and James, were fantastic today.
Yeah, I mean, Ollie Skip come on last week, didn't he, and played centre half, and he was, I mean, he made us all sit up and think, didn't he? But then, thankfully, as you said, Ben Nelson comes back into the team. He comes in the midfield and, does the simple things well. And that's exactly what he did today. He has a go, which again, we've all been talking about. Waggy's mentioned it. Worked hard for the team, put his body on the line, gets the ball, can see a pass, and he gets physical with people, and he did that today. So yeah, I mean, what Leicester need is steadying influences throughout the team, and he showed that today. Again, we're talking about Ben Nelson not being phased. I think Ollie Skip was exactly the same today in the middle of the pitch. By all the hustle and bustle was going on, he was the one that was, just sat in there, taking it all in his stride, making interceptions, sliding challenges, whatever you want to call it, when needed to. And so he was like a calming influence in there, in that midfield today. With of course, you've got all the younger lads in and around. Not that he's that old, by the way, but he just seemed to have that calming influence in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah, Tags, on that note, you talk about partnerships, but obviously you've got like young Ben Nelson next to Vestergaard, you've got Ollie Skip, you've got John James, you've got Ayu at the top. Your core of your team's got good experience, youth, energy, and you can just all feed off each other. And look like today, look like set up, look well organised, allowed JJ to go forward, Skip balanced off well, him and Bobby played well together, and you just look like you're building those relationships. Ben Nelson's got Ricky next to him, so he's got that wealth of experience to then go and play his game, not to worry about too much, because he's got two experienced pros next to him, and it just allows these players to go and be who they want to be. And like you say, your core of your team set there, and hopefully you can build the rest around it.
It's yin and yang, isn't it? JJ, we know his engine's incredible. Yeah. We know he can score. He loves making those runs into the box. He can see a pass. He set up the first goal for Bobby Reid. And then in Ollie Skip, he's not going to do that. He's just going, as I say, he's going to sit there. He's going to soak up a little bit of pressure, give Jordan James the freedom to go and express himself, and that works. That is, that's worked for time immemorial, and that will always work. And as Ollie's, the one thing that Ollie Skip has to be is reliable without the ball, and that's what he showed today. He was reliable without the ball, and he got in Derby's faces. He made some fantastic sliding challenges. He made an unbelievable interception on the edge of the box, drove forward, drew the free kick, yellow card. I mean, it was a great bit of play, and that's exactly what you need.
All those bits that you and Waggy just mentioned there, Tags, it was evident, I thought, to me, but both on and off the ball, it's much more zip and spark about Leicester's performance, wasn't it? And I know that's buoyed by the goals, getting themselves in the 3-goal lead is going to energise anyone, but they were much more, that determination about their play, energy that Martin mentioned. They were niggling away, they were ratting away at Derby, trying to win the ball rather than just going through the motions, weren't they? And when they were in possession, it wasn't slow and laboured and predictable. It was swift and it was good movement, etc. So, did you feel that watching it live over at Pride Park?
Yeah, well. Absolutely. I mean, we've seen so many contrasts this season, haven't we? in the way Leicester have played the football. It's mind blowing. So yeah, there you go. Your second favourite word, conundrum. First favourite word is complicated. Second favourite word is conundrum. But it is. You're absolutely spot on. And today was what you expect. We expectancy. You know, everyone talks about this is what we expect from Leicester this season. We've seen it. We've seen it today. We've seen it away at Swansea. And a few other games, and then other games we haven't. But that, you know, again, you don't need to have players who always just want to get on the ball and go sideways or back to then play through the thirds. You know, just a 5-yard pass or a 10-yard pass forward. Give it to someone who you know is going to run forward. Get it out wide to the two wide players who we know want to take the full backs on. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. And I think that's, for the most part today, that's what Leicester did. They played in the right areas. They made right decisions on the ball for the most part. And, I mean, the first goal for me was an excellent bit of football down the right-hand side. And again, with the second goal, you know, Luke Thomas's delivery today in that first half from the left-hand side was exquisite. But it was the decision-making in the lead-up to those goals where everything was just as sweet as it could be, you know, and they got the rewards for that.
Yep. The key is repeating that Wednesday.
There you go.
I think we've been guilty at times this season of maybe overplaying or maybe looking for one more pass or the perfect goal, but crosses in the box always cause problems. Direct play, it doesn't have to be pretty all the time. Balls into the channel, I think we played really well, getting out of jail free. Ricky took no chance at the back a couple of times. With Luke's delivery from wide plays, set plays, it's like, it's not rocket science, just get the ball in the box, let your dangerous players get the ball forward, and we looked like a real threat every time we played forward. Missed the middle area out, JJ running forward, Bobby picking up nice positions. It just looked so simple, but really effective football.
The delivery for all three goals, whether that was JJ's little pass, obviously Luke's ball in, and even for the disallowed goal, for the Jordan Ayew one, actually was spot on all afternoon from a Leicester point of view.
Yeah, and I don't know why the quality levels sort of were raised today. Why is that? Is that like sort of extra focus?
It's a mindset thing, isn't it? It shouldn't need the extra bit on the game to do it.
No, just having that
mindset. But it is a mindset. But it's like a.
But I'm going to be. Yeah. I'm not going to let the team down. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to be a difference maker for the team today. And if you have that positive mentality, then you'd be surprised what happens. Because Luke would probably say by his own admission, he is a quality deliverer of balls, crosses, set pieces, whichever you want, when he's in good form. Yeah. His service probably hasn't been as regular and as good as he would like it to have been for large parts of this season. But he has the capability. You know, you know that. You've seen that at different stages of his career. And today, it became, you know, it was at the forefront, really. Jordan James is a big player. He's a big player, isn't he? We're talking about different individuals today, but even when things haven't been going well, he has been one constant, pretty much, you know, to varying levels, but more often than not, he has been the player that you get the feeling other lads are looking to for inspiration. Yeah. But it needs to be other people stepping up to the plate, and they did today.
They did, yeah.
And going back just to Luke Thomas here, and I think sometimes when you try and overcomplicate it, that's when decisions get blurred or you quality just ball comes back to you, whipped in the box and seen 3 or 4 times, 4 or 5 bodies in the box. It's old school, but it's effective. You put defenders on the back foot, and then you don't have to worry about anything else. Just feed the ball in an area. If the strikers aren't there, that's our job. Get on the end of it. And
he was probably a little bit more advanced today than he has been.
He was.
I'm not sure. I don't know whether that's instructions from the coach or his personal, you know, decision making. I've seen him. I think he has the capability to join the wide player and get round and overlap, etc., double up. But yeah, he'll feel so much better about himself today because he's had good and bad bits throughout this season, hasn't he? But fair play to him. He never sort of shirks the challenge. He always stands up to what's in front of him, and he's had a good day today, and as of Leicester in general. But the other key to that is Luke's productivity is getting bodies in the box. Yeah. Leicester don't have a Duncan Ferguson or an Andy Carroll to go and pump
Stick
the ball into
yeah.
an area. They need bodies in the box to stretch the opposition. They did that today.
Yeah, Jerry, final say for you before we say goodbye to you for the afternoon. How pleased do you think the Leicester supporters will be? How pleased will you be leaving Pride Park today? A big 3 points. We said before the game how big the game felt, and Leicester have gone there and produced that.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, never mind the fans. What about me? But you've mentioned. And yeah, so I mean, it's been a great afternoon, great performance, backed up with a crucial 3 points. Let's all have a good weekend, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sweet. He wants to get off.
Yeah. He must be getting somewhere.
Safe travels back, Jerry.
He's got a Pepe's coming, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got somewhere to be, Gerald.
Appreciate that. Last couple of bits from the two of you then. Same question, really. I mean, that we said, didn't we, how big a game it was? Yeah. And that for them to come away and do that just feels that feels like it could be massive in the context of the season.
Yeah, we had a couple of mini fall storms, haven't we? This season where you think, oh, it's about to click. Hopefully, this isn't one of those. But we didn't just mention it for the sake of it about the importance of the game. Yes, it's a derby, but it's also that stage of the season. I feel I had about it. If things had gone awry today, I think it would have been a huge blow, sort of morally, for the players and the supporters. And you don't want that sort of double dejection, if you like, because there's only not negativity breeds from it. But now, you heard the supporters, they were watching it here, let alone actually there at Pride Park. They were determined to go, for a number of reasons, to go and back their team to the hilt today. And the team have come up with the goods. And all of a sudden, there's a feel-good factor around. You look at the league table, and people will be looking at results this afternoon.
Yeah, I know there are games later, but it's 2 points off sixth now, 4 points off third.
And so many games to play. So you have to look at it at the overall perspective. But that is, time will tell if it's going to be a turning point. It might be a bit much to call it that, a bit premature. But it's certainly a huge impact that game. Really.
Yeah, this has to be a catalyst going forward now. One of the benchmarks been set for in terms of hard work and attitude off the ball. The quality was there for everyone, and you know what this league's like. You put 3 or 4 results together, you can climb the table, especially this time of the year. Game after game, 100%. Week after week, is it a real good opportunity for lads who have come in again, proven a point off the bench again. The changes that were made, super. So the manager will be super pleased, but it'll be like, right, this is the bare minimum now going forwards, because you've just beat a very good side. We'll go again Wednesday night, and we've just got to keep that momentum going. And winning breeds confidence. It breeds a bit of everything throughout the club and just settles everyone down. And like you say, 3 points off 6 or whatever, it's within the grasp of the team. So it's not a million miles away. They just need a bit of focus, and it's the bare minimum going forward.
I'd be thinking of it. Jordan James was quoted in the week as saying, "Listen, we're looking upwards. Like we're not considering anything less than that, really. That's what we're targeting to be." And someone sees that performance today, or other teams will keep an eye out, won't they? They'll be having a look, or even if they just see the result, they'll be like, "Oh, perhaps Leicester perhaps turning it around a bit here." If you're sitting a few points above Leicester, you're going to be wary. You're going to be nervous, because you know what Leicester can do.
Yeah, well, as Waggy says, games come thick and fast in the Championship. That's exactly what they're doing this week. It is away from home midweek, Wednesday night. You can follow all the action away at Ashton Gate. Bristol City, of course, will be live with Match Day Live then on Wednesday, so do tune in for that one. There are your international monthly and game passes available to watch the games, as well as listening to the games as well, so do look out for what is available to you on Fox's Hub. Big thank you though today to Jerry Taggart for his co-commentary duty today, to Matt and to Waggy for their company here in the studio on what's been a fantastic early kick-off on this Saturday. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Goodbye.